Coach, you guys on a nice roll here lately. You come in on a 5-game win streak. You get the doubleheader last night at Bosse Field. Get ready to wrap up the series of Normal later on tonight with a game starting at 6:35. What's worked so well for you guys over these last 5 games?
It's been a combination. As you know, when things go well, it usually is. But the starting pitchers have gotten deep into games and kept us in ball games, giving us a chance to get our offense going. And luckily, of late, it hasn't taken long to get our offense going. Guys are starting to swing the bats really well. Guys like Nick Daylog and Shane Howe, Chris Sweeney, middle of our order type guys have really been there and been consistent. And then we get a different guy every night chipping in. So it's been fun to watch and it's been fun to be around. But still a long way to go.
Well, you had a successful season last year. You went to the playoffs, at least for the one game. It didn't work out your way in the playoff game, but you had to know as a coach, or at least have a good feeling. I don't know if you ever know anything for sure, but you had to have a pretty good feeling coming into the season when you seen how many familiar names were coming back on this roster, that you were going to be pretty good. That seems to be working out the way you were hoping for thus far, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. Anytime you have returning players and just having that consistency and that rollover from year to year is always a good thing. And that is something to be said with the front office and the ownership, making this a great place to play, getting to play at Bosse Field, and that really leads to the players wanting to come back. And then, once you get returners like Baylog, Halk, Allen, all-stars last year coming back, you have an idea, you have a hope that you come back and hit the ground running like we did. But, it's a long off season, and, a lot of things happen in between then, and you just hope they come back in shape and hit the ground running. But, so far this year it has, and that's a credit to the players because, they kept themselves in shape, showed up ready to go, didn't use the spring training as a period to get in shape. They showed up in shape and were ready to hit the ground running. So, it's kind of a credit to the players, commitment in the off season.
Well, with the MLB draft out of the way now, as a minor league program, I know we see it with the Icemen all the time. I've seen it when the Blue Cats were in town. With the MLB draft over with, is this a time where a lot of those AA and AAA teams, MLB starts to move people around there, so they start to look around, and I guess, long question made shorter, is it time that you start losing players?
Yeah, this is probably the busiest time. A lot of those organizations, either got what they wanted in the draft and are moving people up, or didn't get what they wanted in the draft and have to move people. So this is one of the busier times for independent baseball. Usually right around when we get started, the first couple of weeks of the season, and then right here from here to about mid-July is going to be a busy time of organizational teams shuffling people, and this is when we lost most of our guys last year. So I hope it happens. A lot of these guys deserve that opportunity, but as always, it's a little bittersweet when they take your best players. They rarely take your worst players. They usually take your best players. So this will be it'll be good to see. Hopefully, a couple of those guys get an opportunity. But yeah, I foresee some guys getting the call here in the coming weeks.
I know you mentioned that it's a little bittersweet when you see that phone ring and you think, oh, this might be the one that they come looking at Halk or Baylog. Do you maybe let that one go to voicemail from time to time? Like, I don't want to deal with this right now.
But there are some managers in independent baseball, and it blows me away that do kind of shelf those calls and put them off till a later date. But there's no better conversation in independent baseball when you're giving a kid either a return trip to organization or his first trip to organization. And we encourage those calls, and when we actually push our players. But when I get calls from scouts and they're saying who's the best this in the league, if it's not one of my guys, I really, normally I do recommend one of my guys unless it's somebody that really deserves the opportunity more so. But anytime I get a chance to move somebody on, and Mr. Bussing's the same way, to move guys on and give them their opportunity is something that he's all for too. And it helps in the long run because we moved 6 players last year, and that helps with the recruiting process for the following year. We can let them know that we don't hold players back. We do move them when they get the opportunity. So it all adds to the whole package here in Evansville.
And you mentioned the recruiting aspect of it, and that's something we've discussed with the Iceman head coach, Al Sims, and that he very much takes a similar stance that you do, that the more guys that he can move on, it only helps the team moving forward and being able to go out and maybe find a guy that's on the fence. He's got a couple of teams looking at him, and maybe if he feels he's got a better opportunity to move on to the show eventually, he might be more inclined to go your way if you've got that kind of history with some of those players. So Andy McCauley, our guest, Evansville Otters manager on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. As we started the conversation, you guys on a 5-game win streak, things are going pretty well. But I get the impression from you, you're a guy that there's always room for improvement. It's never going to be perfect. What are some things that you'd still like to see get worked out with the squad?
We've had some hiccups in our bullpen, and you know, I like the guys we have down there. It's just a matter of getting them some seasoning and getting them their innings and getting them out there to where they're comfortable in those situations. But you know, other than that, you know, there's some guys that you know we could see have better at bats. That's something that we talk about on a daily basis. You know, going 2 for 4 and having 2 hits and 2 terrible at bats is something that you know is not going to fly. And you mentioned that, you know, it was a very short ending to the season last year with a 1-game playoff game and then an untimely loss. It kind of cut the season a little short for us, and that's the kind of focus we're looking at now, where, you know, playoff games and these series coming up with Southern Illinois coming up, and this one with Normal playing teams, you know, with better records. You know, too good at bats and too bad at bats doesn't cut it. You know, we need to have 4 good at bats and grind out at bats and get base runners on, put the ball in play. So you know, we're kind of, you know, striving towards that, to getting, you know, a playoff type mentality going as we go through the regular season.
Well, next Wednesday marks, and we've discussed it with you before the season got underway, next Wednesday marks the 100th anniversary of Bosse Field. Obviously a very historic ballpark, 3rd oldest in America. We've discussed, you know, with you, your thoughts on just being a part of that history. When you bring in guys, maybe I'm sure there's a few guys on the team this year, this is their first time in Evansville, Indiana. What's their reaction been to that ballpark?
It's overwhelming. I mean, there's guys on the team this year that have played 3, 4, 5 years of organizational baseball and come here and just are blown away, you know, just at the history of it, the condition of it, and, you know, just little nooks and crannies. I mean, there's places in that Bosse Field that I've never even seen. There's just so many caverns and tunnels down there, so it's kind of interesting on that front too. But yeah, you see it every series when new guys from the visiting teams are coming in and they're all getting off the bus and they have their cameras out as they walk into Bosse. I mean, that tells the story right there, and we're lucky enough to do it every single day. So you know, and believe me, the players don't take it for granted. It's something that they you know, have come to enjoy and really appreciate. And this 100th year celebration is just going to be the icing on the cake for that. Now,
you guys have a game that night to kind of help christen the 100th anniversary. Extra pressure to get that win. I know it's still a week away. You got some games ahead of it yet, and you're 1 game at a time, and I understand that. But I mean, looking ahead a little bit, if you can, any extra pressure to make sure you want to get that win next Wednesday night?
Oh, we want to get every win. To be
well, sure, right,
I mean, they're hard to come by. So when you're playing well, you got to take advantage of how you're playing, and because it's not going to go this well throughout the year. I mean, we know that now. Well, most of us do, but you know, there will not be, you know, this much. There will be bumps in the road, but yeah, by all means. I mean, it would be, you know, that it's going to be a special night regardless. But to just add a W on top of it certainly make the night much more enjoyable.
Well, will there be any kind of a special message to the team? Again, I know that's looking a little far ahead for you, but are you going to have to maybe work with them and make sure they stay focused on what they need to do to go out there and get a win and try not to get all wrapped up in everything? Because you're talking about, you know, Jim Leland and Jack McEwen, Bob Greasy, all these guys are going to be there, this kind of star-studded lineup. You know, obviously there's going to be a lot of outside activities outside of the game that could be maybe a distraction for the team. Is there a special message that night where, look, we got to block that stuff out and get out there and do what we do every night?
Well, sure. I think I will certainly address the festivities going on, but I think after the first pitch is thrown and there's 6, 8, 10,000 people there, I think that's going to take care of itself. It's they're going to realize that this is a special night going into it, and that's part of the game, being able to block out the distractions and things you can't control and take care of the things you can. So there definitely will be addressed, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think the guys are pretty focused, and that will just add to the excitement of the evening.
Well, I know we'll be there doing our show live from 3 to 6 next Wednesday, and usually we talk to you on Wednesdays, but yesterday we had some things come about here where it couldn't happen, and you had a doubleheader start a little earlier and all that stuff, so we waited till today. But
Sure.
we would love for you to stop by next Wednesday. We're not exactly sure where they're setting us up yet, but we'll get word to you, and if you could find 10 minutes or so to sit down with us, that'd be great. And,
absolutely, not a problem at all, guys.
well, who you got going tonight on the mound, and what are you expecting out of tonight's game?
Tonight's Tyler Vale. He was a fifth-round pick with the Oakland Athletics at a high school. He was a high school draft, and he went right from high school right to organizational baseball. So, I mean, he's kind of, this is a totally new field for him coming independent. They're just a real power arm. I mean, he's anywhere between 92 and 94. He's touched 95, 96 for us, and they're just working on some mechanical things, getting it ironed out. So, I mean, you'll see a plus arm, and he'll probably have a scout or two there as well to see Mr. Vale. But, if command's been a little bit of an issue because he's working on some mechanical things. If he can keep the ball in the zone, I think he's going to have a big night for us, and hopefully we can keep the offense rolling. So, Normal's a very good team. They pitch the ball very well. Brooks Carey used to be my pitching coach here in Evansville. He does a great job over there at Normal. So, he's got a pretty offensive team. Patrick McKenna, their shortstop, is one of the better shortstops I've seen in this league in a long time. So, we have our work cut out for us. I don't think it'll be easy sledding, but by the same token, I think Tyler matches up pretty well against this club.
Evansville Otters manager Andy McCauley, as they look to wrap up the series tonight against the Normal Corn Belters at Bosse Field, try to make it 6 in a row. Best of luck tonight, Coach, and we'll talk again next week.
All right, sounds great. Look forward to seeing you guys out there. That'll be fun.